Hi there. In our devotion today, I want to take you to First Peter chapter 5, verse 5 onwards. Let me read few verses here. Young men, in the same way, be submissive to those who are older. All of you, clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. Here is a great advice for the younger generation from Apostle Peter. When he is writing in this letter, he says that young men, in the same way, be submissive to the older people. It is important that the younger generation need to learn to respect and submit to the older people. All through the Bible, we see when older people are respected and that brought blessings. And he says that all of you clothe yourselves with humility toward one another. It is a two-way street. You submit to the other person and the other person submit to you. And you are humbling yourself toward the other person and the other person humbles towards you. And that is what Peter says here. Why? Bible says because God opposes the proud and he gives grace to the humble. You know, being proud closes the door of the grace of God. But if you are merciful and humble before God, and God opens the door of grace into your life. How do you do it? It says in verse 6, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Don't let other people humble you. You humble yourself before God and before the other people. Why? Because that is what God desires in his word. Sometimes it is difficult to do that. Why? Because it looks like that we are powerless. But if you look at Jesus, what did he do? He was God and he was with God, Bible says, and he did not grasp that being God as the greatest thing, but he left his glory and became a human being and took a form of a servant. And he humbled himself to the will of the Father. And even to the death on the cross, he was obedient. The result was God the Father raised him up and gave him the highest name. And at the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow. So Bible says if Jesus obeyed and submitted to the Father's will, and it is also important for us to submit to one another and humble ourselves towards one another and humble ourselves before the mighty hand of God. And the result will be that he may lift you up in due time. God has a timing for everything. And in his time, he will make everything beautiful. And because Bible says that he may lift you up in due time, we have to trust the decision that God makes. And we have to rely on him. And how do you rely on him? Because sometimes we are so much anxious about things. And Peter says, cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. There is no one else in this whole world to care for you more than God. God cares for you. Bible says God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Right here, there's a great lesson that we can learn. To be submissive to the older generation as well as humble towards one another and humbling ourselves before God's mighty hand. It'll open up the door for blessings of God in our life. Whatever that is bothering you or being anxious about, you cast it all on God and He cares for you. Bible says He cares for you. Submit to Him and receive the blessings from Him. May God bless you today as you submit to the will of the Father in your life. God bless you.